we go. Well, a very big hello to you all. It's our first coaching cafe for the year, and I have been really looking forward to catching up with you. So welcome everyone, it's Natalie Ashdown here with you. As always, welcome back to our Friday coaching cafes for all our regulars, and there's a lot of people on the line. So hopefully we can keep this up all throughout the year to focus on our education, our coaching education together. If you are new to the coaching cafes, welcome. We run these sessions every Friday. If you're listening online, great, welcome to you as well. Hopefully you're madly vacuuming or punching out a workout or something as you listen to us. So you're maximizing your time. So welcome everyone. As always, for those of you that don't know, these coaching cafes actually allow you to achieve your continuing coach education units, which you receive after the session if you are online for the whole time for the session. So if you drop out, unfortunately, we can't give it to you. You actually do need to be on the line for the full 30 minutes. So thank you for coming on a bit earlier as well. So today, kicking off the new year, I thought, what topic should we focus on to kick off our new year? And I chose consistency, not perfection. And I stand here before you actually trying to walk the talk on this for the new year. And so today we're going to look at what does it mean, consistency, not perfection, to achieve results. Let's frame up some great coaching questions together. As you know, the coaching cafes are always about creating a community, sharing from our learned experience, having some thought-provoking conversations. And I love it when you interact with me. The way you do that is how you're doing that right now. Pop a message into the chat box and I can pick up your comments, share them with the group. Answer any questions. These are my ideas and thoughts, or Open Doors ideas and thoughts, but you know, we're very, very keen actually to hear what you've got to say as well. So there's lots of people on the line, but jump in. We'll be here for half an hour and longer if we need to as well. So no worries about that. Alrighty, so I was thinking about consistency. I went looking for a few quotes, and these are some of the really great quotes that I found that actually resonate with me. So first of all, this has got a bit of a taekwondo feel to it, as you can see. Yes, that's me with a super short haircut. About 5 years ago, I think it was, when I was a white belt in taekwondo. There are a lot of people on the line who have actually coached me through my taekwondo grading. So I'm very thankful to you all. I love this quote from Bruce Lee, who says, long-term consistency trumps short-term intensity. And I think myself, I have a tendency to do short-term intensity, so go hard for a very short period of time. But I think about the results that I've achieved throughout my life. I don't think there's anything that I've achieved where long-term consistency wasn't actually the key. And that comes back to the Taekwondo gradings as well. It's long-term consistency that turns you from a white belt into a black belt. So I achieved my black belt actually not this Christmas this year, Christmas the previous year. So that was really great. This year I'll be going for second Dan, all going well. And my son actually achieved his black belt last year. So that was really exciting from a family point of view. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I love The Rock. He says success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work gains success, and then the greatness will come. So I think at the moment, with things I'm trying to achieve, and maybe you can think about the goals that you've set for yourself this year, it is the consistent hard work, I think, that's going to get us there. Jim Rohn, who's an American author and kind of guru, I suppose, many years ago, said, discipline and consistency is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. And it's actually Jim Rohn's quote that really got me thinking. And it's that quote that I actually wanted to reflect on with you this afternoon, and reflect with you as we're thinking about the goals that we're setting for 2020, and also the goals that we're helping our clients work on as well, obviously. So let me know if that resonates with you at all, and I will pick up your comments as we go along. So I wanted to pick up on that thought, consistency being the bridge. And it's interesting to me because I was thinking about the GROW model and how at the end of the GROW model, as we have there on the slide, at the end of the GROW model, we've got the way forward, we're watching out for the wiggles, etc., etc. At the end of that coaching conversation, the client is making commitments to themselves about what they're going to achieve and what they're going to do to move forward. And when I think about it, you know, our role as a coach is to help the client elicit that commitment. And quite often our role as a coach is to help them maintain accountability. And they often, and I'm the same, when you've spoken a goal out aloud, and when you've shared that goal with someone, if you ask someone to actually keep you accountable, it's much more likely that that goal will be achieved. And that's why it's great to work with a coach, obviously, and great to have an accountability partner. So it really is our role to help the client think about the commitments they want to make and think about the accountability. But what I was interested in is this quote, the bridge between goals and accomplishments. So if they're accountable to something, then they get feedback and then they start to achieve our results. Consistency, I think, fits in somewhere between commitment and accountability. So, or alongside accountability. So there's one thing to be accountable to a person or to yourself, but there's another thing to actually, excuse me, I'm just going to sneeze. Oh, sorry about that. I ripped out the headphones as quickly as I could. Yes, this is recorded live. There's another thing to think about, which is alongside accountability sits the consistency that we need in order to achieve our results. So as we're consistently applying the application of whatever it is that we're accountable to, we receive feedback, we make modifications, then we're actually achieving our results. And so I was actually reflecting, tell me what you think as well. I was actually thinking that one of our roles as a coach is not only commitment, accountability, feedback, and assisting with results, but one of our roles is actually to check in with consistency. It's to check in with our coachees on how consistent are they being towards the goals that they're trying to achieve. Are they taking consistent actions towards what they said they wanted to achieve? Now, when I was reflecting on this, there was a lot of actual clients I was thinking about where, you know, they make commitments around their work-life balance or their health or their the way they're going to manage their time, around the way they're going to communicate with their teams, you know, all sorts of commitments that they make. So I know that when I actually open up a coaching conversation, I'm actually often asking, so last time we talked about this, how are you going with that? And if they say, oh yeah, well, that lasted for, you know, a couple of days or whatever, then that actually opens up a conversation, as you know, about how important is this goal. So remember in our certificate for those of you that have done it, we're recapping. And so recapping at the start of the next coaching session is really about how did you go? What did you find? What did you achieve? And if the person hasn't done it or kind of fell off the bandwagon at some point, then we have the opportunity to open that up as a conversation and dig in a little bit more there. How important is the goal to you? Is it still important? What got in your way? What were the barriers? How can you maintain consistency? Do you need to adjust your targets? Do we need to talk about how realistic the target was? There's some closed questions there, but they certainly open up a lot of discussion points. So let me pause, see if there's anything that you are thinking about as we're reflecting on this idea, the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Any thoughts you'd like to share? Hopefully you're all thinking it's great to be back. Great to be back with the Coaching Cafes. I'm quite excited. Yeah, Mike says the quote is very is resonating a lot. Yeah, it certainly did with me. I really took some time to reflect on that. So let's dig a little bit deeper into what is meant by consistency, not perfection. It's something that I have actually personally had to have a very good reflection on. I've done quite a bit of journaling and thinking about this, a bit of research, a bit of reading about it, but also really thinking about myself. And I offer this to you because it's great to be thinking about this at the start of the year with big goals that we actually are looking to achieve. And it's fantastic for those of you that are catching up with your clients and your coachees. Maybe you're having, the first coaching conversation for the year, or you're kicking off coaching conversations. It's really, really great timing to be thinking about not just perfection and that short-term burst to get us going, but actually how are we going to maintain this consistency throughout the year. So consistency, when we look at the definitions, these are the kind of words that are associated with consistency: steady, regular, constant, practice and application to achieve results. So a steady, regular and constant a practice and application to achieve their results. Catherine says it's great to be back, and she believes consistency is the key to success. Yes, Catherine, I'm so glad you say that, because it took me a long time to actually learn, and I had to reflect on things that I had achieved, and that was the secret to success. So yeah, thank you. When we think about perfection, and you look up perfection and research and the dictionary, etc., you're going to find words like faultless, flawless, 100% perfect, and dreamlike. And the problem that we actually have is that a lot of people do short-term intensity and make it absolutely perfect, but then they fall off the bandwagon because it's actually not sustainable. So all those people that have made fitness goals and health goals, and we're all going to become insert whatever the next thing is. We go well for the first couple of weeks and then have a big night out, and then we're off the bandwagon. And so this is not just with health goals and personal goals, but think about what we're trying to achieve as leaders within our organizations as well, and how that consistent application can make a difference. So we need to be pursuing consistency in order to pursue perfection. So the other thing I've had to really have a good think about is that perfection is not an end state if we're continuously improving. So you're never actually ever going to get to that faultless, flawless, 100% perfect state if we're always continuously improving. And that's a state that we actually enjoy being in, that continuous improvement state. We could produce the whole set of course materials and we think they're perfect. They're pretty well 100% what we want right now. And then 6 months later, we're doing a massive big review. And I wonder, how did I even write that stuff sometimes? So what was I even thinking? So as we pursue consistency, consistent, continuous improvement, that's where we're going to see our results. And I know I'm kind of hammering on about this, but hopefully it's resonating with you. Let's pick up your questions. So Sebastian, welcome back, says coaching questions. Oh, excellent, thank you. Here comes his coaching question. So what would it take, what would it take for you to be disciplined and consistent towards this goal? I love that question. What would it take for you to be disciplined and consistent towards your goal? And Sebastian, I know that if I answer that question right now, for me, it would be, I need more sleep. So see, Sebastian's not even coaching me, but asking a great question like that really hits the mark. So thank you. Here's another great question. What does it mean to you? So what does consistency mean to you? What does discipline mean to you? And it's a very good conversation and reflection. Catherine, welcome to you. She says well, it's lovely to have a professional violinist and teacher. So Catherine's a professional violinist and teacher, and she's witnessed over and over that talent was not made by over and over that talent was not what made my students succeed. So she's witnessed over and over that talent was not what made my students succeed. It was the ones who believed in themselves and had the constant motivation to practice for years on who actually succeeded. Thank you for sharing that. I've got goosebumps when I think about that, because yes, that really resonates with me in terms of things that I've succeeded. And as you say, you know, achieving a professional level of your instrument and being a teacher, you've seen, that's wonderful to share. Nandor, welcome to you, says, aiming for consistency is a motivating factor, whilst aiming for or looking for perfection could be demotivating. Yeah, look, I agree with you, particularly as our performance is rarely perfect, yes. So I agree with you. Aiming to just, you know, consistently doing something over a longer period of time is the key. And that's why I showed you my Taekwondo my Taekwondo white belt, because the only way I actually got myself or achieved black belt, well, of course, lots of you coached me, but it was, you know, 3 times a week, every week for a number of years. And then you just kind of, you know, you grade and you go up. And there's times when I didn't grade because I wasn't ready. There was times that I felt that, you know, I should hold off because I didn't feel like I was perfect. I didn't think I would do it perfectly. There's times in my gradings where I didn't actually perform what I needed to do perfectly. But the focus on consistency is actually what we want. And our instructors would say to us, I've seen you do this a million times before. Some perfectly, some not. But over the course of what you've done in your training, you've achieved the level that you're after. So thank you. Some other really great reflections there as well. Hopefully this is all making sense to you as well. The purpose of today was really to highlight it to us, you know, to bring it to our attention, particularly because, as I said, we are likely to be setting goals for the new year, and your clients are likely to be setting goals for the new year as well. So that's what we're really focusing on. I'm just going to pause for 1 second. We have someone coming in the door. Okay, I'm back with you. John, John, thank you. In the question and answer box, so I'm picking up the other box too. John has said, what challenges do you often encounter in ensuring clients become accountable and consistent with their goals? Yeah, that's a really good question. Thanks, John. I'll put that out to the group as well. Let me know what challenges do you actually encounter in ensuring clients become accountable and consistent with their goals. So for me, off the top of my head, it's the classic standard things. We want to do something, but then we need to think about, well, when are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? What changes do we need to make? So the barriers that get in the way with accountability and consistency are actually making the behavioural changes or the routine changes that we need in order to pursue. So that's where I'm interested in, that we could pursue something and be really great, you know, get out of bed at 6:30 a.m. or 5 a.m., you know, 5 days in a row, but then the next day I'm flying into state. So I can't exercise in the morning, or, you know, I've done team meetings with the team, but then, you know, you're delivering a program or you're out doing something else. So you miss that one. So I think the other thing for me is the barriers is when you miss something, how do you continue? So I might have missed a Taekwondo class. I might have missed a whole week of Taekwondo. I might have missed a couple of weeks of Taekwondo. But how do we pick it up? How do we pick it up? How do we continue in order to keep that consistency going? And I think that's what we're really working on as well. Ian says, does not consistency equal commitment here? Yes, very good. So consistency actually equals commitment, doesn't it, really? Thank you. Sebastian says, how much do you agree that discipline or consistency would be important to you to achieve your goal? Okay, he's coming with these great questions again. So Sebastian says, how much do you agree that discipline and consistency would be important to you achieving your goal? So that's a lovely question. I'm thinking about something like a question like, so how do you rate on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is consistency to you? And this is important if they've said, you know, what I need to do is I need to be consistent. You go, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is that to you? On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at now with your consistency? So it's good to get a rating in there as well. What can you do about it? What does it mean? With anything that requires consistent effort, you know, we all know, it is going to take a change of behavior. It might even need a change of attitude. It might even, think about our values diagram from the Cert 4, go back to that. It might even need a change of belief. I might need to believe that consistency is what's going to get me there if I haven't seen the results. I might need to keep believing that this is the way to go, and believing that consistency is the way to go. That consistent application will get me the results, particularly if I can't see the results, if it's going to take a while before I receive the results. And then any work you can do to link it back to values. So why is this so important to you that you achieve this goal? What difference would consistency make to you? So think about our values diagram. We've got values leading to beliefs, leading to attitudes, leading to behaviours, to be leading to results. So I'm working backwards there. We'll need to change our behaviours. We do need to get up earlier. We do need to book those meetings in. We do need to speak to our staff, whatever it might be. We might need to change our attitude, that this meeting is not a bit of a, you know, I'm just doing this because I think I have to. I'm doing this because I want to insert whatever the goal is, be a great leader, etc., etc. So it's really interesting. Bring out your Cert 4 materials there. Bring out that values diagram. Ask any questions you like around that as well. Great, thank you. Welcome, Kate. Great to see you jumping in as well. How about, these are great coaching questions. This is what I love this. You're giving me goosebumps. Kate says, what does a consistent action in relation to your goal look like? Excellent. So if you want to expand that out as well, you know, what does consistent, what would it feel like to be consistent in this regards? What would it look like? What actions, consistent actions do you need to take in order to achieve that goal? How often will you be able to complete this action? And how realistic is that for you? So don't forget, sometimes people go, well, the perfect scenario would be X, Y, Z. Of course it would be, but what we're looking for is what's going to help you achieve the goal over the long term. And this is where sustainability comes into it as well. So short-term intensity is not sustainable. So we can do short-term intensity, but we need it to be sustainable over a period of time in order to achieve our results. Great, thank you. It's fantastic to get your comments. So I was thinking about the pursuit of perfection. There's a couple of, this is actually a really great YouTube video that you might like to watch as well. You can capture the slide there and go and have a look at this YouTube video. I really resonated with this video about teaching girls to be brave and taking risks and going for it. And young boys as well, you know, teaching our children, because quite often people don't do something if they can't be perfect at it. If it's not going to be perfect, they worry that it's not going to be exactly right. And so therefore they don't take a risk, they don't try things. And so teaching our girls bravery, teaching our young boys to be brave and take a risk, and don't worry if it's not perfect, let's just get it going, is hopefully a YouTube video, a TED Talk actually, that resonates with you. So the pursuit of perfection, of course, there's some upsides. You know, there's a lot of high achievers on the line. Gives you drive, motivation. You can strive for excellence. If we're pursuing perfection, then we're also thinking about continuous improvement. So we're continuously improving the work we're doing. And the other thing I was thinking about is if we pursue perfection, then it actually is that creative tension, that kind of idea that you're not satisfied. So it forces you to be creative and change and continuously improve. So there is some benefits, I think, of actually kind of pursuing perfection. But there's a lot of downsides. And I'm sure a lot of you would relate to this as well. The downsides of 100% pursuing perfection: you're never happy, you're never satisfied, you put a lot of pressure on yourself, so way too much pressure on yourself. There's a risk that you achieve something and then you stop. So I've achieved it and then I stop and I don't go on. So there's a massive push to achieve something, then nothing happens after that. We see that a bit in Taekwondo. A lot of people achieve their black belts and then never go on to achieve other gradings or continue their training. And our instructor said black belt is just a milestone. It's the start. It means you're not a white belt. So he was basically saying black belt means that you've achieved a certain level, that you can now, you know, be a mentor for others, but it basically means you're not a white belt. So that was hard to get my head around as well. If you don't achieve something, then I'm not sure what you are like, but that whole beating yourself up, giving up, feeling like a failure, you know, all of that negative self-talk kicks in, particularly beating yourself up if everything's not perfect. So for me, there's a lot of downsides on this pursuit of perfection. Yes, you can be driven and motivated and do continuous improvement, but you get that out of being consistent. So it's almost like consistency gives us these things without the downsides, without having to be never happy, unsatisfied, feeling you know, enormous pressure all the time, stopping, beating ourselves up and feeling like a failure. So I'm kind of up for consistency because it seems like for me a bit of a longer term path, but it sure saves us beating ourselves up. So alrighty. So Catherine says the speed at which the goal is wanted to be achieved will determine the frequency of the consistency of the task. Yeah, that's a lovely way of thinking about it too. Yeah. Coaching questions. Mel, you're typing in some coaching questions there. That's fantastic as well. Thank you. Alrighty. So we've been asking ourselves quality coaching questions throughout the webinar, which I really appreciate. So where do you need to be consistent? How can you be consistent? What would the benefits of consistency be? What would consistency look like? Throw in all your other coaching questions. Now, where you place these coaching questions in your conversation, obviously is entirely up to yourself. I'm definitely trying to lock it in by the end. I've definitely had this conversation towards the end, because it's no use getting to the end of the conversation and then opening up a whole conversation about consistency. So if you're going to offer this or ask these questions, then bring it in a little bit earlier, giving yourself time to discuss what does consistency look like and feel like is a really great idea. The other thing that I've been reflecting on, and I offer this to you as well, is that a fantastic question is something along the lines of, where has consistency served you in the past? Served you. So if you reflect on your major goals that you've achieved, to what extent did consistency around your actions, around your disciplines, etc., enable you to achieve that goal? So what we're doing here is thinking about the major goals we've achieved, the major results that we've achieved, and we're reflecting on, well, where does consistency come into that? How did a consistent approach actually influence that? And when I answer that question for myself, I basically reflect that nearly every goal that I've achieved, it's the biggest goals that I've ever had, has been achieved through that, through some form of consistent effort over a longer period of time. Yeah. Oh, Leanne says I'm breaking up. My connection's not great. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Hopefully it's, maybe I'm walking around a little bit too much. Malthus says, on reflection, what do you do consistently well on a day-to-day basis? What a great question. So find out what they do on a day-to-day basis consistently well. And what are those things that enable you to be consistent? So that's a lovely question as well. What are those things that enable you to be consistent, that help build consistency within your actions as well? Great questions. Anyone got any more before we finish off? They're terrific questions. I'll have to screenshot those. Terrific. Well, think about your key takeaways, your next actions. Watch out for our next webinar. We're back every Friday, or we're back and you're able to jump in and listen whenever you can. Contact us if you've got any ideas or questions. You're more than welcome to. This year, our focus really is on coaching, obviously, but we're really trying to bring more and more awareness of mental health first aid to the workplace. So if you're interested in finding out more about mental health first aid and how important that is for coaches and managers and leaders to be aware of mental health first aid, please give us a contact as well. Happy New Year to you all. Wonderful to be back, as I mentioned. Thanks for joining me on the line. And I will hang around for a few more minutes answering any questions or saying hello to people as we go. I'll see you at our next webinar. Thanks for joining in.